Good morning for everybody and anybody that's joining us live today, and welcome to anybody that's watching this as a video. And this is the Medium channel where we bring you the spirituality behind the message. And I see a few people are on already. Good. And we help you with your awakening. So let me turn my volume off. That way we won't hear the pings. All right, so welcome. And I wanted to get on this morning to really talk about what's going on, what's coming up in the world around us, in this whole process of ascension. Hi, good morning, Judy. So we're going to dive right into this now. We've been seeing a lot of things going on for a while. And if you've been following things that are going on, like in social media or whatever, and people that do predictions, that do astrology, that do ascension work, you've been hearing a lot of information lately. And in fact, in 2020, there's a lot of predictions, things about like elections getting overturned or things coming out or whatever. So we've been hearing a lot of that for over a year, but not so much from me because I wasn't feeling it at that time. And in fact, right in the beginning of 2021, I did my predictions here, like my 5 top predictions. And I have to admit that not everything that I said in January 1st, 2021 has panned out to the letter. But if you watch that, you could see sort of the trends and the gist of what I'm saying and how that's relates to what's been going on. And for those of you that have seen that or watched that, you will note that I spent some time really focusing on autumn into the winter 2021 going to 2022. And I mentioned a few things that I thought were going to happen, and it appears that is on track. I'll put it that way. So I just wanted to mention that. And really what's been going on with the earth, what's been going on with energy, with ascension, is that we've been in an evolutionary process for a while. I've been feeling it since around 2008, maybe even before that. But there's been a big process of energy shifting and accelerating through the planet, through our bodies, through our nervous systems, through our energetical systems. I really started to get in on doing Kundalini yoga and really upping my practice around then. And then the energy got so strong around 2014, I actually had to stop my practice because I had so much energy going on. I couldn't sleep. And then I started it up again. But the long and the short of it is that we're in a process of awakening. We're in a process of evolution. And during that time, I was telling people that we're basically evolving. Like in the next 100 years, this was back, maybe 15 years ago, I started to say this, that in the next 100 years that we're going to experience like thousands of years worth of evolution. And we have energetic, how should I explain this? Like dormant light codes, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like we have, it's in our DNA, it's encoded. Like we have 15 billion cells. No, take that back. 15 trillion cells in our bodies, all that have encoded messages. The DNA, the chromosomes, or whatever. Now, there's going to be a lot that's going to be coming out in the realm of science and understanding things like what are our true origins? Do we have like DNA that's alien DNA? Do we have connections with other star systems? Why is it that about 100,000 years ago, the current species of Homo sapien kind of came on the scene without a whole lot of genetic linking to the proto-humans before that? And people like Greg Braden, I follow him a lot because I feel like he's a very careful researcher and very honest. says that our genetics really hasn't changed much, if at all, in 100,000 years. But more and more teachers and more people are identifying these activating codes that are happening. It's part of our awakening. It's like we're being turned on, like our superhuman selves are being turned on. And we've been seeing that in drips and drabs. There's always been enlightened masters on the earth guiding humanity. And according to the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, which is still one of my favorite books on esoteric Christianity, there's 144,000 ascended masters on planet Earth at any given moment, alive, in human bodies. But we're spirit. We're not, we rent these bodies. We don't own them, but we're immortal spirit and we're immortal soul. And we're part of a collective consciousness and a collective whole. And what's happening in the 2020s is there's a mass shift. There's a mass awakening that's happening. I have about 3 pages of notes spread across. So I wanted to talk about the Earth, what's happening with the Earth's heartbeat, which is electromagnetic fluctuations, the Schumann resonance, and stuff like that. And I don't have the scientific details at my disposal, but again, according to Greg Braden, that the Earth's heartbeat since 1980 has doubled, like it sped up, like doubled. And the Schumann resonance, they used to be a fairly steady, what was it, like 8.36 megahertz, is it? The Schumann resonance is a low frequency that permeates through, I think, the stratosphere, the ionosphere, and is associated with electrical activity through thunderstorms and what's called high, I forgot the meteorological term, but high bursts of electrical currents that come out of the tops of the storms and into the stratospheres. But the spikes are not explainable through natural weather phenomena. This is just a couple of examples, but the long and the short of it is the Earth herself is waking up, that there's something dormant, some dormant energy in the Earth herself that's waking up. And we're very intimately connected to the Earth's vibration, for after all, every atom and molecule in our bodies came from the Earth and will go back to the Earth. So it happens on the Earth, happens in our bodies. But many people are programmed by society and cut off from who we are as spirit, and cut off from our natural rhythms, the natural Earth rhythms. The Earth is alive. She communicates. And if we start to tune in, if we start to clear all the mental clutter and learn how to become present and just learn how to feel again, because the ability to really feel with our hearts and with our soul has been programmed out of us systematically through a process called social conditioning or social programming, take your pick. And a lot of us experience a lot of pain, a lot of separation from our parents, emotionally, physically, when we're very, very young. And basically, we adapt the belief systems that we're told from a very young age. They become our belief systems. And then we basically carry out those patterns throughout our lives. Our universe is fractal. Basically, that means that things will continue to replicate in a continuous, predictable pattern indefinitely. That's how the universe is structured. That's why our cells divide. You can see the examples of this in nature. That's how evolution happens, because we keep reproducing and species keep reproducing. So basically, it's a fractal universe, but it's an expanding universe. So what's going to change that infinite tendency to just reproduce itself over and over again is consciousness. Everything has consciousness and everything thinks. So it's through consciousness that we can start to change. And the fractalness in us is just that our subconscious mind, which is strictly runs on programs, is, well, how can I explain this? It's basically, it's assigned to keep us alive. That's part of our subconscious mind. survival of the body, survival of the individual. And because we have this fractal nature to the universe, the subconscious mind believes that in order to survive, that things have to be the same. In other words, what we experienced in the past needs to be our present. Otherwise, there's a discomfort that comes up, and the subconscious tries to block it and change it. So it's through consciousness and it's through reprogramming that we can change that and we can evolve. But it's naturally happening because the earth is conscious, the cosmos is conscious. There's a divine intelligence that's acting upon the universe always. And if we can tap into that, then we can start to affect the changes that we need to affect. So the earth herself is changing. Now, a little bit of astrology, just a little bit of general astrology. We're going to have Sharita Starr come on the channel probably in November to break it all down. It's very, very intense with the astrology. It kind of backs up of what I'm getting through spirit and what I'm sensing. October the 6th, firstly, October, and I wanted to do like monthly forecasts. I really feel like this is the time. Again, there've been a lot of predictions. I wasn't feeling it so much. Things didn't happen, but now I feel like it's time. So I just got the idea, because what's happening now is going to carry through at least the next 6 months. So for at least the next 6 months, I'm going to get on in the beginning of the month and give you an energy update. Basically, the energy of October, based on astrology, is very cardinal. Cardinal signs lead the seasons. We're in Libra, the first sign of autumn. Right at the winter solstice, that's Capricorn. So Capricorn's a cardinal sign. It leads in the winter season. Right now, we have a new moon coming up on October 6th in Libra, conjuncting Mars in Libra. Normally, new moons are more peaceful, new beginning energies, but a lot of what's going on in the astrology is going to really key in on completions and endings and changes. And with that Mars energy coming in, Mars is warriorship. But also with all that Libra energy, Libra's the balance, Libra's the scales. And it's a universal 6 month in numerology, in a universal 5 year. 6 is the lover's card. That's about choices. That's about duality. That's about really understanding like a lot of the what's the right words? A lot of the illusions and delusions. It's also about service. It's also about wanting to help. It's wanting to be compassionate. It's wanting to give back. And when you combine all this stuff, Mars is very warriorship energy. We're going to find, and the same rules apply that we've been saying since the whole pandemic began. Stay in your lane, stay in the eye of the storm. That's how we're going to be effective, is by not buying into all the crazy stress that's out there. And stress diminishes our power, and it tears down our body. It tears down our energy fields. We're only supposed to feel stress when there's an immediate threat, not all the time. So all this cardinal energy and all this warriorship energy, you're going to find just in your day-to-day life that people are going to be a little bit harder to deal with and more combative. But understand the art of warriorship. It's not about fighting. It's not like boom, boom, boom. I'm a warrior. I'm going to kick your ass. That's not what it's about. Warriorship is about strategy. It's about peace. It's about impeccability. It's about honoring ourselves, honoring others as if we're honoring ourselves. But the key word is strategy. And in order to be a strategist, we've got to get out of our emotion. We've got to get out of our head, and we've got to get back with spirit. We've got to get back into our center, into the center of our own universe, which is our heart, center. We have to know when to fight and when to not fight. We have to be strategists. So with everything going on, a lot of people are just going to automatically want to go into activism or want to fight the governments or whatever. That's fine for some people, but I have to say, don't engage in a battle that you cannot win just because you were emotionally triggered by what's going on in the collective. We need to really step into our center, step into our power, be aware of what's going on, but not to be so drawn into it. So this new moon, what's happening also is Pluto goes direct. In fact, in October, 3 planets stationed to go direct. No, 4 planets. Pluto, then Saturn, then I think it's Jupiter, then Mercury. And I think Uranus and Neptune will stay in retrograde for a little while longer. Pluto goes direct. It's not a big deal. Pluto's retrograde, like 5 months out of every year. So it stations, what 4 times a year is that? What makes this interesting is that this Pluto direct is going to lead into our country, the USA's first Pluto return. Pluto is evolution. Pluto is like an implosion type of an energy. And this is the true beginning of a 3-year, 2.5-year cycle of a Pluto return in the US. What happens in the US happens in the world. In astrology, the second house is very much connected with this. The 8th house is very much connected with it. And Libra, the cardinal sign of justice, is very much connected with this. And so is Aries, so is Uranus, so is Aquarius, because Saturn and Jupiter are also in Aquarius. Aquarius is very revolutionary. Uranus is doing its thing, so is Neptune. I'm not an expert in astrology, but I do understand it to a degree, and it fits in beautifully. It couldn't be scripted any better, like what I'm sensing energetically, what's going on astrologically. So what this all means is that this is the true approach to the Pluto return in the USA. The Constitution was signed under very, very dubious astrological occurrences, including Mercury being retrograde, opposing Pluto. And now the country's going to a Pluto return. The second house is all about money. It's all about structure. The 8th house it's about a lot of things. It's about evolution, but it also has a financial side to it. Basically, what it's showing is that financial systems are breaking down. Unsustainable systems in our society are breaking down. But there is a strong drive to justice in the collective. And what we're going to see, and I'm starting to see trickles of it already, but what we are going to see is that people are going to not be able to just sit on the truth anymore. People that have sensitive jobs, like say with the government or with the pharmaceutical companies or the tech companies. And in fact, I think somebody in Facebook is stepping forward. What we're going to find are more whistleblowers, people that are saying, I can't hold on to this information any longer. The media is deceiving us. The governments are deceiving us. This is what's going on. I work here. This is what's going on. And we're going to see more and more of this. Things that have been suppressed by the news, suppressed by the governments, things that benefit a select few but harm the masses are going to start to come out. And the forces that be, whether you want to call them the elite or the deep state or whatever it is, and let me just back up for a second, because just looking into the astrology, I highly suspect that there's been a plan. There may even be energies or entities from other star systems that are time travelers. And I swear, if I look at the birth of the nation, look at what's going on now, it almost seems like there's an intelligence that knew around this time there's going to be a big evolutionary shift and an awakening, and almost set it up in a way for that. It almost looks like we're on a stage, and then that kind of brings in that whole theory about we're living in a divine matrix, basically, and that physical reality is basically a computer simulation. And in theory, science can actually support that. And apparently we're less than a century away of having that type of holographic technology that we could actually do that. But that's a discussion for something else. But the point being is that this is representing the big shift coming out of the cusp of the earth changes and the Great Awakening and diving right into the meats and potatoes of it. And this is what we're starting right now. October 6th is the new moon. Now, Heather Istar, the healer that works with us, and myself, we're going to be doing a free Zoom event. She'll be doing a healing transmission. I'll be doing an energy transmission like I always do. At the top of the comment streams, I've got the email if you want it. It's free, and if you want to get the Zoom links for that. So a couple of other little goodies astrologically, then I'll move on. So after Pluto goes station, tears down the structures, powerful drive for justice. I have that written in my notes. Then Saturn goes direct on the 10th. You have Saturn is also about structure, infrastructure. It's about lessons, learning, karma, and all of that. It's in Aquarius. Aquarius is very revolutionary. Aquarius wants to tear it all down and rebuild it. And Saturn wants everything to be grounded and everything to be very structured. So we've had, when the planets go station, they have extra power. So we have this kind of pulling away, so to speak, of the sign Aquarius that just wants to blow it all up, with the planet Saturn that wants to just keep everything under lock and key, so to speak. And then Jupiter also in Aquarius, which is about our expansion and growth and higher consciousness, and also taps into the governments and the financial systems and everything like that, is on the 18th, when Mercury goes direct also. Then we have a full moon on the 20th with the full moon in Aries. And then Mars and Pluto are squaring on the 22nd. These are just a couple of things. But the gist of it is that this is a big shift. And let me move on to other notes. I want to take what this means for us. And I want to try to keep this. I'm drawing the symbols. Okay. I'm just checking in your second and eighth house. Second is the Taurus ruled house. Eighth house is a Scorpio ruled house. So eighth house is other people's money, secrets, what else? Evolution, that kind of stuff. Second house is Taurus. It's money. It's structure, and what else? And I'll answer a few questions at the end. Okay, the thing is, it is, but the Zoom ones we generally don't record just because of I only have Heather and Yana working with me on Between the Worlds. It's just an issue of how much manpower we have in Between the Worlds versus what we can do. So everything that I do on YouTube and Facebook, obviously is recorded. All right, so for us, we need a spiritual practice, bottom line. As the earth is changing, as I mentioned in the beginning, the earth's heartbeat is accelerating, according to Greg Braden. The Schumann resonance, that's measurable. It's off the charts. I think it's supposed to be at 8.36 megahertz, but there's been spikes up to 200. The spikes don't last that long, but this is energy. This is frequency. We're energy. We're energetic beings. The model of the atom that I learned in high school is not the way atoms look like, with the little nucleus and these little regular trails of electrons. Basically, atoms are energy. They're not. They're less than 0.001% matter, which is the nucleus. And there's energy fields all around the nucleus. So I often talk about it being empty space. It's not really empty space. There are energy fields around it with subatomic particles that can be wave or particle. It can coexist as both or go back and forth. Long and the short of it is that we're energy. We're not matter. And as the energy increases, cosmic energy increases as we go towards our awakening, I do believe that we have help from higher intelligences that are guiding us with that. our bodies change as the energies, because we're made of energy, changes. Our physical bodies change. Our nervous systems change. The body and the nervous system has a hard time keeping up with the change. Now remember, we're fractal. Our universe wants to repeat the same patterns over and over again. It's consciousness that invokes the change. So basically, our bodies just want to stay the same. Our bodies don't want this change. The body starts to feel threatened and starts to fight it. And our minds that are programmed into the society and the subconscious mind, which is, again, here to keep us alive. It wants to run on programs. It wants the past to be the present and to create that in the future to survive. We need consciousness to change those patterns. And we need a spiritual practice to offset what's happening energetically so that our bodies and our energetic systems can evolve and that we can be safe, and not just safe, that we can evolve into a superhuman level. So we need some kind of spiritual practice, something that is going to allow us to be in our power, in our center, but also allow for our bodies and our energetic fields, our auras, to be able to evolve and to be able to grow as the energy continues to shift. Now, I love Kundalini yoga. Yogi Bhajan, who's has a there's mixed energies with him as a human, but as a teacher channeling Ram Dass and Kundalini yoga, I feel that that's very powerful, and that was created for this time of the earth changes to keep us healthy. And that's why people are going crazy, and a lot of people can't handle it. That's why so many people are having illnesses that they cannot diagnose, or doctors can't diagnose, because they're energetic fluctuations that are happening in our energy fields that are affecting our bodies, that are affecting our glandular systems, that are affecting our immune systems, that are affecting all of our systems. So having, now more than ever, having spiritual practice. So nature is important. Connect with nature. I've always talked to the trees. When I connect with trees, my consciousness just expands and opens, and I feel the earth's vibration going through me. The trees express the earth's vibration. They also express the vibration of the cosmos, and they balance the two. So when I started to talk to the trees, I was told by the spirit of the trees that they're both transmitters and receivers. So they receive cosmic energy and bring it to the earth. They bring earth energy and bring it up to the cosmos. They help to balance the energies as the earth herself awakens and comes to her next level. And a lot of trees are getting cut down, and they ask the humans to pick up some of the slack. So that we should meditate with the trees and assist in bringing cosmic energy into the earth and releasing earth energy back into the cosmos and continuing that circle and continuing that balance for us. So meditating in nature, connecting with nature, learning how to feel energy in nature. You do that by being present. Everything that I do starts with presence. When we become present, we get out of our thoughts and we get into vibration. When we start to feel vibration, we start to connect to spirit and source. When we start to do that, we can invoke consciousness and try to affect change in our lives through law of attraction, in the society through service. So this is important. This is the Libra season. Libra is about balance. One of the best spiritual practices that I know of is called heart-brain coherence. And check out Heart Math Institute. They've been doing this for 30 years. They have scientific research to back up the fact that if you're able to allow your heart and your brain to balance in coherent electromagnetic patterns and frequencies, you open up consciousness and awaken your superhuman self. It really is that simple. And this is a mass awakening. There's always been a smattering of awakened people. Those are like the spiritual teachers or people that meditated in the mountains of Tibet or whatever. And people like myself that had awakenings, like mine was in 1979, and And my first one, and people like myself that have had awakenings beforehand, we're like the forerunners. And of course there were people well before us that had awakenings. But what's happening is it's becoming more of like a mass awakening. So the more of us that awaken, the more it changes collective consciousness that assists in everybody in their awakening. So if you're here, you're also one of, I call the forerunners. There may be another name to it, but you're here to be like either a teacher, a way shower, a light worker, or whatever it is. And a lot of this is coming, again, it may be interdimensional, it may be other frequencies. We can only perceive the physical world through our physical senses. It's all energy. It's a very narrow bandwidth of energy. If we broaden our ability to perceive bandwidths of energy that are beyond the physical, then we start to tap into the other planes of existences, and we can move into talking to the other side, for example, and connecting to our loved ones, and then our spirit guides and the angels, and those that work in consciousness in interdimensional realities, or from extraterrestrials from other places in the galaxy, like the Pleiades and Arcturus and Sirius, for example. So heart-brain coherency, I have a whole live stream on that. It was released September the 24th. It has the same thumbnail as this. Let's get spiritual. I break down the practice of heart-brain coherence. What it is in a nutshell is, if you bring your heart is the largest electromagnetic generator in the entire human body. When we are programmed and in stress, and we're not in our power, we're not in our presence, we're not grounded, our heart rhythms, not the heartbeat, but the electromagnetic rhythms, and the heartbeat too. But actually your heartbeat is not supposed to be to the letter regular. There's supposed to be heartbeat variants, but that's for another show, another live stream. But the electromagnetic frequencies, they're supposed to be coherent. How do we make them coherent and get them out of like an erraticness? We get out of the stress-related mentality of fight and flight that releases adrenaline and cortisol, that brings the heart out of coherency. The heart and the brain are always communicating. They're always connected. It brings our brain out of coherency so that we can deal with the crisis at hand. So the way that we change that is we do what hearts naturally want to do. We raise the emotional frequency of the heart. Nothing in spirituality is hard. It's all based on super simplicity. And that's the key. Get back to simplicity. For 10, 11 minutes a day, I mean, the effects start immediately, and at least 3 minutes a day, at least 3 times a day. What you want to do is you want to get present, get into your breathing, let all the stresses go of the day, of the week, of the year. Get into your breathing and feel your heart opening to compassion, to gratitude. And according to Greg Braden, what are the 4 emotions he talks about? Gratitude, appreciation. Oh my goodness. I need more caffeine. A little water will do. Gratitude, appreciation, caring, and compassion. And any combination thereof. So you allow yourself, what are you grateful for? And just allow yourself to be, just open up to those feelings and breathe and feel them. And then feel that, because the heart feels, and the brain thinks. Like the heart knows, the brain thinks. When you really feel that in your heart, in your mind, in your intention, marry your brain and your heart. This happens automatically, by the way. The heart and the brain share neurons. So when one activates, the other activates. The heart is more powerful than the brain. So it's mostly the heart communicating to the brain, but they go back and forth. So when you feel this, feel like whatever you feel in your heart, try to physically feel in your brain and feel like they're one organ, and just sit with that. And just doing that for 10, 11 minutes at a time, 3 times a day is going to change everything. It's going to help you to awaken these light codes that we all have that are dormant right now. And what that does, it allows your immune system to kick into a level that doctors do not understand yet. And yes, that can mean curing cancer or curing MS or things that are thought to be incurable, psychiatric diseases that are thought to be incurable. We actually have the potential to heal those. I'll say virtually everything. There's exceptions to every rules. What else can that do? It allows you to be a greater electromagnetic generator to be able to create your reality. We create our reality because everything's energy. What we hold as energy, our fractal universe is a mirror, and our reality reflects whatever we hold as energy. So as we do this, we change our energy out of this whole fight or flight, fear-based, um, what's going on in the world around us, all the stress, and we come into a much more of a peaceful energy, and then we create a much more of a peaceful world. There's definitely other benefits to that. And like I said, I have a live stream on that. So, we really want to get that vibratory reset. And this is going to be a really, really good practice because it's going to allow your natural healing to kick in. It's going to allow your ability to create your reality. It's also going to open your intuition up wide open, and you're going to be able to get more intuitive messages. Now, I do a lot of transmissions. That's one of the things that I'm doing to help you to activate your light codes. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the end, but I do that here on the channel also. And they're able to use me as a conduit to help to activate large groups of people, and I do that daily for the planet to help do my part. If I'm able to do this, I may as well do it, right? So there's definitely a lot of vibratory resets that's happening. Later in the month, we may feel very drained after the 22nd or so. There may be a lot of resetting that's going on. So what else? Be aware of combative energy and stay in love. I talked about that. Other things about taking good care of yourself, other forms of breathing exercises, doing yoga, getting out in nature, eating well, what you put into your body, drinking a lot of water. We need to take really good care of ourselves to withstand the pressure of what's going on in the society. A lot of emotional pressure and a lot of physical pressure that's going on. Activating DNA code, I talked about though already. We are evolving. Spirit communication, and another exercise to do. And this is along the same line. This is Libra season. This is all about balancing so that we can evolve and move on to our next level right now. That's what October's really about from an energetic standpoint. To those who do not awaken within. Yeah, people that will not awaken, it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen to them, but there's going to be like probably a lot of economic shutdowns. I mean, there may be interruptions in the food chains and stuff like that. People that are ill prepared are going to have a really, really hard time. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen to them. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. So another really, and again, very simple. When you're present and meditating, we have a physical sun, but we have what's called a central sun or a universal or spiritual sun. And it's not physical, but it's energetic. And we live on a 3-dimensional world, but within that, embedded within the 3-dimensional world, there's a 5-dimensional crystalline world or earth. And again, these are different bandwidths of energy, but they exist. And when you get nice and relaxed, start to visualize this glowing like gold white light that's maybe infinitely brighter than the sun above you. And then within the earth, visualize that there's a crystal matrix, because there is. The minerals of the earth communicate with one another. The earth is alive. The crystals in the earth are alive, and there's a whole crystal grid in our planet that's waiting to activate and awaken because the Earth's evolving. It's an Earth evolution, and we are children of the Earth, and we are evolving with the Earth. So you imagine there's a giant crystal under you and a beautiful sun. And when you inhale, basically you bring the energy, that central sun, down through your crown chakra into your heart. And at the same time, you bring the crystalline earth up through your feet, through your root chakra, through your center line into the heart. And then when you exhale, feel that energy expanding through your body, through your aura, and out into infinity. And just inhale, first get present, feel the energies above and below, feel the central sun, feel the crystalline earth grid. Inhale those through your crown, through your root, into your center line, into your heart. Exhale, feel that expanding through your body, activating, healing, energizing your cells, energizing your energetic frequencies, your nervous system, your meridian system, out through your aura and out into infinity. So that's another very powerful spiritual practice. But also take care of the body, yoga, tai chi, qigong, something that's going to work with energy, because we're going to feel energy more and more. The idea is we want to be able to be conscious of energy, the force. What other words can we use? Chi, prana. Scientists starting to discover what it is that the mystics have always been telling about us. The energies that we feel are linked between spirit and between the physical. So spirit communicates through energy. So it's an information field. The energetic field is an information field, and it's helping us activate our heart. So these practices help us become more aware of energy. It helps us to clear. We want to do our shadow work also. We're in the autumn. The leaves are falling from the trees. So October is a beautiful month here in the Northeast. And then the trees fall, they decay so that new growth can come in. So we really want to understand what shadow work is. You can approach that from a Jungian perspective, or I guess Jungian is the proper pronunciation, or shamanic. But the shadows are just the parts that are hidden, that are our unhealthy patterns, our childhood issues, like I didn't get a lot of positive attention at a very early age, so I became a people pleaser as an adult. That's like one example of a shadow aspect playing out in patterns in your lives, or in my life in this case. So these are the things we want to work on. We want to clear all this. We want to clear all the old earth, because it's a system of control, system of one person having all the toys and the other person having nothing, basically, and one faction controlling another faction, one small group controlling another group. This ascension is more about finding that balance where we can all be empowered and we can all share in the resources, whether that be spiritual knowledge or energetic knowledge. So a couple of other little things I broke down. Breakdown of the system. So that's what this is about. That's October is the beginning of that process. Systems start to break down. Governments, financial systems hit especially hard. But also the media, the news systems. We're going to find, again, a lot of suppressed news that's been manipulative and manipulating us in a certain way of thinking. Now, this can include conspiracy theories, because I believe, I have no proof of this, but what I feel from spirit is that we'll say some of the conspiracy theories were actually orchestrated by the powers that control things to keep us like scurrying like rats in mazes, chasing, down the wrong rabbit hole, so to speak. So be careful where you get your information, or jumping on the bandwagon of some of these really outlandish conspiracy theories that are going around. I myself am not going to make a judgment on that, because personally I do not have enough information. For all I know, there may be a reptilian race controlling all these things, or there may be whatever you've heard that seems like really, really far-fetched. I don't know, but what I really sense in my heart and what I really feel, and what the evidence is showing, is that there is an agenda and there is a conspiracy, but a lot of what's coming out is really more smoke screens so that they can continue that conspiracy. Again, nothing's complicated. And once we get out of that complexity and really get into the simplicity of our heart and energy, we can start to see through the smoke screens. Follow the money, follow the corrupt flow of power. Who gains, who loses. And interesting thing that you're going to start to see. You can check out Russell Brand's channel before he's getting over the top. So before he gets shut down, like so many others have, check out his channel, what he has to say about the Wuhan lab and events leading up to that. I'm not going to say a word about it here, but check that out. There are certain things that are going to be rising to the surface because we're in Libra, we're in justice, we're in a 6th month, which is about humanitarianism. This is affecting and vibrating the collective in a certain way that people are just going to be like, I can't hold on to this any longer. I've got to tell people in sensitive positions in the government and in the pharmaceuticals, in the media, look for this. Because I feel like it's really going to start to come in this month. And October is just the beginning. November, December, January, February 20th, we hit our first Pluto conjunction. What I mean by that is transiting Pluto hits the USA's natal Pluto for the first time on the 20th. That's the beginning of the Pluto return. Then it goes up maybe a degree or two. Then it goes retrograde and conjuncts again. Then it goes direct. I don't know how many cycles it does that. By 2024, we're out of that. So in any event, that's it. That's the general what I have for you today. If anybody has any questions, you feel free to ask. I'll stay on for a couple of more minutes. So there's a couple of things. So what announcements do I have? Okay, yes. On a yeah, talking about dead people's on a lighter note, there's a certain amount of seriousness that's going on here. I mean, he gets combated by staying in our sense of humor, staying in our light, staying in our joy. That's our resonance with spirit. But on a later note, it's Spirit Communication Month here on the Medium Channel, and on Spirit Mind Family. That's the membership program. So I created an inner core group called Spirit Mind Family, and I have a monthly theme. And there's going to be about different tips and different techniques that I'm going to share about how you can talk to your loved ones on the other side. When we cross over, we kind of take off these meat and water suits that we wear for our lifetimes. Can we rent these bodies? We don't own these. We are immortal souls and spirits having human experiences. And then we go back to spirit. But the spirit world coexists with the physical. It's just a different bandwidth of energy. So when you're very relaxed, that's when you tend to sense the other side more, because you're not as locked into the narrow physical bandwidth anymore. You're starting to expand out of that. It's starting to get into different frequencies of energy when you get very relaxed and meditate. And then you start to approach the frequency of the spirit world. So they can get a little bit stronger, and you can start to feel them and start to communicate. So I'll be sharing some techniques. But the inner core work is on Patreon. I share a lot for free here on YouTube. It's a membership program. It's very, 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 very inexpensive, by the way. And it helps support the channel, which is great, because a lot of work and a lot of money's gone into doing this for you. So I appreciate it on that level also. But what I give back to you is more than what I receive. I'll put it to you that way. And there's different levels and different tiers, but at the $5 a month level, we do a monthly live stream, we do monthly meditation, we have all the posts and the Q&A and other things, and then there's a few extras as you go up the tier. So anyway, information is on the very top of the live thread. So that's what's going on Wednesday. We're doing a transmission with Heather. She'll do the healing. Oh, tonight at 7, Heather's coming on for a live event, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight here on the Medium Channel. And what she's doing is talking about healing. She's an amazing energy healer and a great energy yeah, what's the right word? A great energy channel in her own right, also, I might add. And so she's going to be talking a little bit about if you are a medium or psychic yourself, or you're developing those abilities or want to. The theme of her talk is going to be healing for psychics and mediums, or people that are developing and opening up to spirit. So you're not going to want to miss that. She'll take us through a guided meditation. So that's tonight at 7 o'clock, right here. And we told you about that, um and then the new moon is Wednesday. So the following Wednesday, I'll do some light code activations here on the Medium channel. So that'll be a week from Wednesday, and I do a guided meditation. Spirit activates my spirit, lights me up as I lead the meditation, and we join through that action. They affect your energy field. The idea is we are going to awaken these dormant light codes, and it's been slowly happening, but the changes on the earth have been accelerating. The heartbeat of the earth has been accelerating. The energetic increase, both in frequency as well as in volume, has been increasing. And that's why a lot of people feel off, or feel tired a lot, tired than energized. That's why a lot of people are having a hard time sleeping. It's accelerating. And this is what we need to do to stay in our power and to evolve as the earth evolves, and to be able to own our power, and to be able to activate our own light code frequencies, the dormant DNA strands. And a whole new species is evolving. This has been prophesied for a really, really long time in a lot of different ways. And the time is now. And this is kind of the next step, getting out of the cusp of the Great Awakening and actually into the Great Awakening is happening this month. So this is the thing to do. And again, people that are not doing the work, that aren't doing the soul work, they're the ones that are going to really, I hate to say this, but suffer the whole financial, like, whatever implosion that's likely to happen on the planet, and are going to be misled by those forces that want to control us, and take us out of our power. So there may be some additional health things, but I think a lot of it is more in the realm of like mental health and personal well-being, and just not being able to really keep up with all the changes in the world, and finding a lot of the livelihoods are ending. It's possible that food chains get interrupted in supply chains. There's likely to be a lot of natural disasters also. There's weather phenomena. That's part of the earth changes, like the crazy weather patterns. It's part of what was predicted with the earth changes. And of course, the temperatures increasing on the planet, obviously. And from a scientific perspective, we can see a direct correlation between the increase in CO2 levels in the atmosphere, which is largely man-driven, and the increase in temperature. But you get into a little bit of a gray area when you assume that that's the reason that the weather systems are going wackadoo, because just the change in the electromagnetic frequency of the earth, the change of the Schumann resonance, the change of the energetic frequency of the earth, and the awakening itself, that in itself is going to change the weather pattern. So I'm a big believer in global warming. I do believe that humans at least influence it. I don't think 100% cause it, honestly, but definitely are a strong influencer. But that said, be careful about assuming that the strong and frequent hurricanes and floods and what's going on is solely because of the warming temperature. There's something else that's happening. Old things have to tear down. It's the Tower card in the tarot, but after the Tower comes the Star card. Those that are doing the work are going to have amazing miracles and amazing things happen in our lives. I'm going to finish this up by saying this isn't doom and gloom. This is awakening. This is renewal. This is what has to be in order for humans to evolve into the next level. If you're doing the work, yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, it's not going to be easy. Yes, there may be some heartache, but that is all part of change. That is all part of life. the fact that we are subconsciously programmed to resist that is responsible for a lot of the problems that we have in our lives. That's why we have patterns in our life, because we don't clear our shadows, because we don't want to feel discomfort and pain. We suppress it instead, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just becomes part of our energy field, and the universe reflects that back to us as our lives. So we need to be able to face these discomforts. That's really important. We need to face our shadows. It's our strength at the end of the day. It's not a weakness. It's not a negative thing. It's our strength. And especially when we overcome it and solve it. And, again, it's just how our mind works. It's just how the subconscious works. And, and from the moment we come out of the womb, the programming's already begun, and it's taken us farther away from who we are as spirit. Spirit is our light, our wellspring of all the good in our life, our good health, our good moods, our success and everything. When we start to get cut off, all these things start to break down within us, and our lives become more and more challenging. We believe what we're told to believe rather than what we know in our hearts. Do heart-brain coherency, get back to the heart, get back to who you truly are as spirit. We're not these meat and water sacks. We're energy, we're spirit, we're divine. And thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. Wow, we went a full hour. Okay. And I've got a busy day ahead. All right. So, again, if you enjoyed this, feel free to share with people. And